Oh, by the way, I don't think it's worthy of a podcast segment, but I swear to God. Did you know there's a mascot Hall of Fame?
Oh, the wife is in.
Yeah. Wow, you knew this. Oh, common knowledge.
No, I knew I knew this would be one of the things that Andrew would be behind me on. I was like, dude, by the way, Mrs. Met's in. And he's like, oh, nice.
I think Mr. Met was part of the second class.
Second class? Okay.
I went back in time. It was the chicken. It may have been the gorilla for Phoenix.
Oh, that does sound kind of like that. No, the gorilla, respect.
The gorilla.
It was weird. Cocky. It was weird, and we talk about it later, that if you go down that rabbit hole that I saw, Mrs. Met, well, she was Lady Met back in 1975, so she was a thing. Then came back in like 2008 as Mrs. Met, and then that sort of led us to now.
To this great moment, and she is the first female inductee into the mascot.
Yeah, so that's amazing for her.
It's great. I mean, if you want to talk about women's rights movement.
Okay. All right. All right.
Just saying.
Okay. Yep. Forget.
Don't want to hear that we're still stuck in 1972.
All right. Okay,
we have Lady Met.
Yeah, you can forget you said all that.
Welcome to S&P's Why Not Us, a podcast still trying to figure out how the Dodgers can rent a two-time Cy Young winner like it's Tuesday, while our Mets pay World Series money for a team that is already playing like it's October, but not in a good way. I'm your host, Scott Greenhut, and on the other side of the mic, Peter Olczyk.
Great to be here. Just for the record, the Mets have just won 4 games in a row, which on the road, which is the longest streak for this team since 2024, which was a special year. So anyway, that happened. So just saying.
Duly noted. And what place does that put us in?
It's very much in last.
Yeah. Okay.
In today's episode, we'll highlight a couple of NFL teams under extra pressure, plus a couple likely to bounce back this year. Continue our Jets look-back summer series, concluding with a playoff game that's as painful as ever, and pick 2 of our most underrated former New York pro athletes. But we begin with some key takeaways from the MLB Trade Deadline, which you just touched on. So I think maybe we'll start, you want to get a little bit into the AL East? Kick us off?
Starting with the AL East, one of the biggest moves that was made, Rutschman to Boston?
Yeah,
Orioles moving a former number 1 overall pick to a division rival, no less. Mm-hmm. Found that to be surprising.
Yeah, well, on that one, it's funny. These divisional trades are becoming more popular with the third wild card of the last few years. So that's interesting.
That's true. That's interesting, yeah.
But yeah, Boston, they've now won 9 straight again. So if you're keeping score at home, that's 32-5 over the last 37 games.
Whoa.
Yeah, so still streaking. And also, they're going to get back likely Roman Anthony in the late August, who's had a very tough lingering wrist injury. Question mark on Garrett Crochet on the pitching side with the lat. So the vibes in Boston are high.
Yeah.
Tampa is still up 5 games right now. Of course, they did not get Tarek Skubal. I was rooting for them to get Tarek Skubal. Mm-hmm. They did get a catcher, left-handed bat, Liam Hicks from Miami, good player, still under control. So, kind of a typical Miami thing. The Yankees. Great move in getting Luis Garcia. He was leading the NL in slugging for Washington when that happened.
Yes, playing without Aaron Judge. So needing some of that.
Yeah. They also got Elliot Ramos, who is a righty bat, strong against the lefties. He came from San Francisco. So a little bit light, but the Yankees stuff, as we'll get to, is probably going to question mark what comes from within. And then Toronto was actually kind of nifty. They were sellers on rentals, so starting pitchers Kevin Gausman and Dalton Varsho, the outfielder. But they were buyers for pitchers under control. Jose Soriano from the Angels and Spencer Arrighetti from the Astros. So I think the fan base for Toronto is probably feeling overall pretty okay with how things went down in what's probably a lost season unless they get crazy hot. That's the AL East thing for me. There was another team I wanted to tee up.
The Cubbies.
The Cubbies,
The Cubbies got one of our guys, right?
They got 2 of our guys. They got Clay Holmes and Tyrone Taylor.
Okay, right, Tyrone Taylor. But then again, Peter Crow Armstrong was one of ours too.
Yeah.
That we gave the Cubs. I hear he's doing okay.
Yeah, we'll get back into that MVP race maybe next time, which is now full on since Shohei isn't pitching these days.
I'd love to go back and we got to figure out who we actually got for that guy.
We can go back through the history of that one. It's not good. Also on the Cubbies, here's a name which I thought was interesting. Ryan Zephyr-John is a relief pitcher from the Angels. A little nugget from Mike Pietriello, MLB.com, who's great with getting into kind of the analytics. His four-seam fastball has been the lowest batting average and the lowest slug of any pitch type in baseball this year. So that's both starters and relievers.
Yeah.
All right, so locally, anything else you want to touch on our Mets before we get to the Yankees for a sec?
Well, I guess the Mets, what we do? We shipped out 7 players, I think.
8 from the roster.
Okay, 8 from the roster, getting maybe 12 or
13.
so. So I'm missing the one. Pretty much a full retool. Did we get a fantastic return for Freddie Peralta? Maybe not. We'll see. Then again, he wasn't pitching that great. So there was that. I don't know. What do you think?
I think just overall the way I'm looking at it is that we got a lot of depth back into the organization. So I think there's more opportunity in the offseason for David Stearns in what's probably going to be an uncertain offseason, especially with a looming lockout.
Sure.
So that's going to be tricky.
Yeah.
On the players' side, the name that seems like could come fastest for us to kind of watch and get to know better is Jefferson Rojas, who's a shortstop third baseman. He was in that Clay Holmes deal to Chicago that we touched on.
Yeah.
Kind of like the number 63 overall prospect right now. Yankees. So how about George Lombard, 21 years old, makes his debut the other day. 2 sterling plays in the field, hits 1 out. That's going to be fun for the Yankees. Hopefully he just plays good defense, doesn't worry about the pressure on the offensive side of the ball, but it's something that the Yankees could really use right now in terms of stability in the infield. And then the big question marks are around Cody Bellinger and Aaron Judge in terms of their health. Bellinger with a hamstring strain, Judge with the fractured right rib. Those 2 players are absolutely core for the Yankees to go deep in what's a very winnable American League that we've been talking about and try to go in all the way to the series.
I have heard differing things on Judge. I've heard a little bit of accusations of masking. They say it might be a little worse than they're letting on. But we'll see. Ribs, ouch for baseball. Never good in any sport, but I don't know. Somehow running backs could, put on the flap jacket back in the day and
my guy, Freeman McNeil. All right, let's get into a little bit of the NFL. So we thought we would do teams both under pressure and bounce back candidates. You got the NFC.
Yeah.
So why don't you do the team under pressure from the NFC?
Yep, team under pressure, Los Angeles Rams, coming off the NFC Championship appearance, and then went all in the offseason, trading for Myles Garrett. I also added Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson on defense. So the window is now. This is not a long-term building exercise. You definitely don't trade for the best pass rusher in football to finish 9-8. You have the AFC for pressure team, and who do you got?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's got to be the Buffalo Bills for me. 6 consecutive playoffs, led by Josh Allen, who for me is the top quarterback in the league. But for the Bills, Super Bowl drought since 1993 when they got to the Super Bowl 4 straight years. And then all the stuff that's been happening in the offseason. New coaching staff, head coach Joe Brady, who was promoted from offensive coordinator. Jim Leonard, defensive coordinator who comes over from Denver. And of course, he played 4 years in Buffalo, so a bit of a fan favorite there. New stadium. So in week 2, they get the primetime game for the Thursday nighter, and apparently it's being billed to be the loudest stadium in the NFL.
I see what you did.
Now, I don't know what Seattle might say about that with the 12th man. And then DJ Moore comes over from the Bears, so that's a good get. So it seems like all the pieces are in place. And by the way, the AFC East, which, I know pretty well, it's a pretty weak division. So this seems like great opportunity and an important year for Buffalo to try to get past the divisional round and see if they can get back to championship game. All right, the bounce back, NFC.
Yeah.
Who you got?
I have the Minnesota Vikings 2 years ago, 14-3 under Sam Darnold, then just cratered last year under J.J. McCarthy's first year as starter.
Yeah.
So this year, open QB competition at camp. They still have a really solid team overall. So if you can just get the quarterback situation settled, I'm looking for them to have a super solid year. And in division, I'll just note that Green Bay Packers, Micah Parsons, they made a big deal for him for 2 first-rounders, but now he's out with an injury. Unfortunate for them, but maybe window open a little bit even more for the Vikes.
Yep. This is pretty chalky for my bounce back in the AFC, but Cincinnati Bengals, 6-11 last year. Joe Burrow had some injuries, and the defense just had a really tough season. So now, for me, Joe Burrow, healthy, is a consensus top 5 quarterback. It starts there. New look defense, big trade for your guy, defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence.
Sexy Dexy.
And extremely aggressive in free agency as well on that side of the ball. And then also one of the top 5 easiest schedules, this just came out the other day, based upon opponents' projected win totals. So you put all that stuff together, it feels like
it's a big deal.
It feels like
the schedule, huge.
Yeah, it feels like they're going back to the playoffs again. Knock on wood that Joe Burrow stays healthy because he is still really good.
All right, is it time for our special segment?
Part 3.
Wow. It's amazing. You have incredible fortitude. And again, I will note for all the listeners at home, still wearing the Jet T-shirt, loud and proud.
Absolutely.
As we work our way through a storied history, what we've decided is we're going to skip over 1991 and head straight to the 98 team.
Yeah.
Did you want to set some context for that team?
Yeah. So 98, this has got to be the best roster at this point in time through my Jets fandom. The team went 12-4. They won their last 6, 7-1 at home. Well, that doesn't happen. Head coach Bill Parcells.
Exactly.
You may know something about that.
Yeah, I sure do.
Assistant head coach and defensive coordinator Bill Belichick. And then on the roster side of things, Vinny Testaverde had an amazing season for us that year. He was 35, 12-1 as a starter. Pro Bowl. Running back, Hall of Fame, Curtis Martin, Pro Bowl. The receivers, great duo, Keyshawn Johnson and Wayne Corbett. Keyshawn was a Pro Bowler that year as well. At center, one of my favorites, Hall of Famer Kevin Mawai, just an absolute stud. Mm-hmm. Mo Lewis, right there as well. All-pro linebacker. And then there's somebody named Aaron Glenn, who's actually currently coach of our team, who was a Pro Bowler that year as well. So this team is stacked. So we get a bye. The Jets don't get buys. This is not something that happens. We're the number 2 seed.
You don't even know what to do during the wild card week.
That's amazing. So here we go. January 10th in 99, they're hosting Jacksonville Jaguars. Now that's only their 4th season in the league. They came in 95 with expansion. Tom Coughlin, there's another name for you. That's the head coach for Jacksonville.
Oh, wow.
Your guy.
Yeah.
And this game, really, the Jets were in total control. The final was 34-24. Keyshawn had a first half touchdown, and he had a lovely end-around touchdown run. Jags had 3 turnovers. It was comfortable, not stressful.
So then there's the AFC Championship game at Denver. Let's just start with this question, which is, were you more confident entering that game because Bill Parcells was your coach?
We could not have been in a better position to try to hang with a really good Denver Broncos team. The 1-2 of Bill Parcells overall and Belichick, who is just a absolute genius on the coordinator side of things. But then again, Denver is 14-2 that year.
John Elway's swan song.
Right, his 16th season. John Elway's 38, his last season. But look at their roster. They got a Hall of Famer and MVP of that season, Terrell Davis. They got a Hall of Famer at tight end in Shannon Sharp. and then Elway with one more swan song. So, we had to play really well and to see if we could hang. But,
Yeah.
And
Okay.
also, I would say that weather-wise, you could tell by watching the game.
Yeah.
Very windy. So this was definitely something that would come into play during the game.
I did my homework here, watched the incredible footage. Defensive battle. Jets get a field goal right before half, go in 3-0. And then I believe it was early in the second half where you get the block punt.
Incredible.
And then you cash that in, from the one. That's how you feeling right there?
Amazing. Blake Spence, who is just kind of a reserve linebacker. Amazing play. A block punt for the Jets. Come on. No big deal. 10-0.
Right. Defensive game. We just talked about it. No one's scoring. Boom. Off the, let's call it a turnover. That's the best way. And then I wrote, this is my own notes.
Yeah.
Wheels fall off from here.
Oh, no.
Kiss of death sequence. But I wrote down allowed a long return.
Yeah.
Allowed a bomb for a quick TD. And then turnover on the ensuing kickoff. Just bada bing, bada boom, bada bam.
Yeah. So, Denver immediately answers. It was like 3 plays, 64 yards, Elway, a TD to running back Howard Griffith. That seemed pretty quick for them. All of a sudden it's 10-7. And then this kickoff. So we talked about the wind. So it was a short kickoff held up by the wind. There's all these deflections. It's a scramble. It's really nobody's fault, but everybody's on the ground. Of course, Denver comes up with it.
Yeah.
That is a dagger. And then, not so much later, there's a 44-yard field goal.
Yeah.
And the game's tied, just like that.
That's right. And then the Broncos get another field goal, up 13-10.
So after Denver went up 13-10, this is the point of the game where things better get going well right now, or you can tell that the better team is really going to take advantage. And that drive from Denver after they went up 3, it just seemed inevitable. I mean, Terrell Davis is just such a stud. Just been waiting all game that maybe we were going to slip and he would break one. He hits a crease on a pitch. He's off to the races, 31 yards. Right at that point, that's when you kind of knew that this wasn't going to get any better. And I will say that the fourth quarter was a very tough watch. We were outplayed, to use today's parlance, in all 3 phases. It ends up being 23-10. Yeah. Elway gets the mile-high salute to the crowd, which is, amazing if you're a Broncos fan. And I will say that I've been thinking about this one. I have an apology to make to our good buddy and loyal listener, Matt. We watched that game together in my apartment. And I would say early third quarter, after the block punt, Matt somehow maybe just teed up like, would we maybe go to the Super Bowl? Would we maybe look into tickets? That kind of thing. And I'm pretty sure I tried to shut that down immediately for the football gods, but it lingered. So I want to say, Matt, it is not your fault. The better team won. Yes, I apologize for making you feel like that for that result.
Fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
So we are going to fast forward.
Yeah, quick summary on 2001 and 2002. Wild card game after the 2001 season. Now we got just head coach is now Herm Edwards.
Yep.
So we're January 2002. It's a wild card loss at Oakland, 38-24.
Yep.
We had actually played Oakland the week before in the regular season, but couldn't win 2 in a row. Raiders are in control that whole game. The outcome was never really in doubt.
Yeah, tied at the half, but from there, bye-bye.
Yeah, so pretty comfortable win for the Raiders. Now, the next year, we got a wild card game at home versus Indianapolis. And this is the blowout. This is the one that happened. 41-3. Everything went well. By the way, head coach for the Colts is Tony Dungy, who is Herm Edwards' mentor and very good friend. But quarterback Chad Pennington was completely on point. Curtis Martin, Richie Anderson as the fullback kind of jumps into that one. The wide receiver duo, Wayne Corbett and Lavernius Coles, who we love. Kevin Mawai still there, played great. And then the defensive ends, John Abraham and Sean Big Cat Ellis. When those two guys were healthy and together, that was as close as we were getting to the stack exchange back from the day. And then linebacker, Mo Lewis and Marvin Jones. So there's lots of talent there. So we get that one. And then, of course, Oakland again the following week get blown out. It looks like a completely different team. Ugly second half, turnovers everywhere. I think they outscored us 20-0 in the second half, and that was that. And then we finally get to a big game to talk about in after 2004.
So we have the wild card game at San Diego. Chad Pennington, QB, lots of rain. The dynamic duo of Al Michaels and John Madden,
the best,
coming together.
This had a big game feel in every way.
Yeah, I did enjoy when I watched the game. Al, I'm still used to because he's Al, but just hearing John Madden again I'm like,
pleasure.
That was great. So we get into that game. I mean, I guess maybe snafu number one. Jets miss a short field goal that would have given them the lead. Ouch, you're a road dog in bad weather, so
a big one.
You kind of want that one. This game also featured the other LT, as I affectionately refer to LaDainian Tomlinson, his coming out party as a playoff back. So what was that like, watching that guy?
Yeah, it seems like we have the pleasure of watching really great Hall of Fame running backs against us. LT, amazing. And of course, he ends up coming to the Jets later on, which we'll see whether that gets talked about. I mean, this Chargers team was good, but we played really competitively. I mean, it starts not so good, right? The missed field goal you talked about.
Yep.
And then,
Drew
Brees, Hall of Famer Drew Brees throws one to Keenan McCardell.
Controversial catch.
Oh my God. So this is a slight overthrow on 27 yards to the back of the end zone. McCardell drags his second foot. It's initially called incomplete. There's a challenge, I think, from the booth, and they correctly called it a touchdown.
Yeah,
that was an amazing catch at the back of the end zone. So full respect there. So now we're down. Now we're down 7. It's 7-0 at that point. Then the good stuff. Then the good stuff starts to happen. Okay. Yeah. So we tie it up. With Pennington with a little dump pass to Anthony Beck, who, by the way, is the radio analyst these days. So that tied it up at 7. And then Reggie Tongue at safety gets an interception off a deflection, which kind of prevents a late field goal or touchdown. So that's great. That's a positive. Now we're into the third quarter. Solid opening drive.
Right. So I'm already at 7-all, and I'm noting a bomb from your guy, Chad Pennington to Santana.
Chad Pennington's ball to Santana Moss that you just mentioned has got to be his best pass in his NFL history. Perfect play action, deep strike, 47 yards. He beat double coverage. I must have watched that ball 3 or 4 times in the replay. It's incredible. So there you go.
More angles, please.
We're up 7 and feeling very, very good.
You're up 7, and then you have a long field goal in the rain, and double doink, but good. I guess we should maybe just make that point also.
Yeah, 42-yarder. Double doink field goal, as John Madden said on the broadcast. They hit the right post and then went off the left post and then dropped in. So in terms of the football gods, that's as good as it gets. We're up 10, 17-7, and we sort of walk into the fourth quarter. Antonio Gates, he's wide open. Of course, our inability over the years to cover tight ends just, comes through again. But there's another Hall of Famer for you. A huge catch and run. Pretty easy touchdown in a little bit to the 4th and goal from the 2. And then Drew Brees, out of nowhere, is scrambling backwards. He has nowhere to throw on a 4th and goal with 24 seconds left. And then Eric...
incredible pressure.
He's going straight backwards. And then Eric Barden does make contact with his right hand to the helmet. You have to make that call. I'm sure he would say the same thing. So that automatically turns it into a 1st and goal from the 1.
That's a death blow. Can I just comment? How are you just glossing over that? That is just, you did the thing. They're going for it. You did the pressure?
Because as a Jets fan, you're always ready for that thing, and you just have to deal with it and get back into the present.
Oh, my
So the present is now first and goal from 15 seconds. And as I was touching on before, guess who? Antonio Gates, pretty easy touchdown.
Yeah.
Game is tied, and we're back to overtime again.
And let me just state here, you're the road team. You're going out for overtime. That means you get to call the coin flip. You called heads? Oh, my Lord. Such a rookie move. I was watching that in disbelief. You always call tails in these moments.
Oh,
so Jet.
That's good to know. I'm going to make a mental note of
Yeah,
of
you
that
really
one.
should. I couldn't believe it.
Okay.
Just wanted to make that comment. The announcers seem to overlook it
Well,
as well.
let's get into the overtime. There's a big 3rd-and-1 stop on LT, and then we go 3 and out. The Chargers march down the field. We force a 4th down, 40-yard field goal for the Chargers to win it, wide right. So we get a lucky miss, and that just is that the time where now we can take advantage and win a game on the road. Quarterback Chad Pennington throws a great low ball to a sliding Santana Moss, throws one to Justin McCarron, who had a really good game. But the play that really stuck out at me, I don't know if you saw this one, Lamont Jordan, kind of our change of pace back, if you will, big guy, but fast. Great vision and speed to cut outside, turn the corner for a big gain to the 15. So here we go, tick, 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 and we're down to Doug Bryan with a 28-yard field goal to win it. Ball game. But no, there are whistles all over the place. Apparently San Diego gets the timeout. I guess that happened, but it was a little annoying to have to rewatch that. Then to ice the kicker. And then Doug Bryan smoothly puts it in again. Ball game, 2017, on to Pittsburgh.
Unbelievable. They should have lost so many different ways, but pulled it out. So unjet.
Gutty effort. Yeah, you just cherish those ones.
Anyway, perseverance. On to Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
Great. This one for the divisional round. This is rookie Big Ben.
Yeah, a little bit of context for it. So it's cold, but not windy. Dick Enberg and Dan Dierdorf on the call for CBS, which was fun. So Pittsburgh, Bill Cowher is head coach. A rookie Big Ben, as he talked about. Now, there's lots of sort of drama right at the beginning. He's wearing a glove. He's checking his thumb. Is it really hurt? So there was question as to whether he's going to feel comfortable throwing the ball.
That was before you knew he was RoboCop.
Yeah.
It didn't matter.
Jerome Bettis, Hall of Fame running back. This is his last season, and he was back as a starter because Deuce Staley had a hamstring injury. So Bettis had just been playing the last few games again. And then their wide receivers stacked. Hines Ward, Plaxico Burress, and then Antonio Randall, kind of a do-it-all player. The defense, of course, right on brand for Pittsburgh. Number 1D, Blitzburg, as they called it. You know, a few of those players, Joey Porter, a former Jet, James Farrier, and then, of course, Troy Polamalu in his 3rd year, first team All-Pro. Pittsburgh hadn't lost a game all year, terrible towels everywhere. And by the way, we had played already that season, of course. Pittsburgh won 17-6. So that's the context for the divisional game. First quarter, we force a 4th down, 45-yard field goal for Pittsburgh. They go up 3-zip. Chad Pennington, next possession, throws an interception to, of course, Troy Polamalu. He picked one off in the first game as well. And more power football from Pittsburgh. Ended up being an easy touchdown from the 3.
Yeah.
And we're down 10-zip.
Yep.
So that's the first quarter. Yeah, so some amazing stuff in the second quarter. There's a 42-yard field goal attempt. Very high snap. Toby Goen, who's a name I had not remembered, makes an incredible hold, snares it, brings it down. Doug Bryan takes a beat, stops, kicks it through, so it's 10-3 on the board. I think maybe the next possession, a couple of great defensive plays. Brian Thomas, who was filling in for a hurt John Abraham, an open field tackle on Bettis.
Fun fact,
Yeah.
My wife once sat next to Brian Thomas on an airplane.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I did not expect that one. And then we finally work our way towards the end of the second quarter. Punt to Santana Moss.
There you go.
75-yard punt return, the first in Jet playoff history.
There you go.
Of course, we have the special teams coach Ace and Mike Westhoff, who is just pulling out all the stops.
Right.
And just like that, even though we're pretty much getting outplayed, especially on the line, it's 10-10, and we're in it. We're on to the third quarter now. The big play that happens, Pittsburgh's, I think, sort of their second drive, an out of nowhere Big Ben underthrow, but Reggie Tung grabs it, streaks down the field untouched for a pick six. So again, two gigantic plays. We're up 17-10. That's the first pick six in the playoffs since 1986 for the Jets.
So you're just stymied offensively, but these big plays putting you right there.
Yeah, back to back to put us up 7. And then a little bit later in the third quarter, more good stuff. Sean Ellis, who I touched on before, meets Jerome Bettis in the backfield, gets a hand in just a little bit, a fumble, Jets pounce on the ball. Eric Coleman, the safety, grabs it. So that kind of holds momentum there. And now we're into the fourth quarter where the game, starts to change a little bit. Big Ben scrambles for 20 yards. They get all the way down to the 7-yard line. And then there's this textbook shovel pass to Hines Ward where Big Ben is actually raising his hands right after he tosses it. Ties up the game at 17. Perfect play. Terrible towels going crazy. And now we're under 6 minutes at this point. There's a beautiful Pennington middle screen to Curtis Martin. That gets us down to the Pittsburgh 33. Just 3 minutes left at this point. We work all the way down to a field goal try. Doug Bryan, 47 yards. This would be the longest kick by a visitor in Heinz Field. The record at that point had been 46.
How crazy is that?
How about that?
In this day and age, no matter what the conditions.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, and you always knew kicking in Heinz Field with the wind.
For sure.
It was just a tough field to kick in.
Yeah.
So the ball is actually falling, trying to hang in. It hits the crossbar almost at the intersection with the left goalpost and just falls short. From 45. So that feels like we're not going to be able to overcome that one. But then an interception right into David Barrett's lap, our cornerback, returns it to the Pittsburgh 36. Curtis Martin run, a decent screen, 6 seconds left, timeout. Somehow we run another play, which was a little weird in terms of a kneel, which brought it to 4 seconds. The kick would have been from 40. It ended up being from 43. So that happened. And then here's Dan Dierdorf, just in terms of describing this moment. I'm sure every single person in Heinz Field is thinking this cannot be happening to our 15-1 Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, Jets Nation doesn't need to hear that. Hooked it left. Overtime again. Third overtime, here we go. We did win the toss on this one.
Oh, well, we got to go back and see what the call was.
Yeah, 1 first down, then a punt. So not too exciting. And then, Pittsburgh from their own 13, methodical drive, runs, passes, all the way down for a Jeff Reed 33-yard field goal. No problem there, ball game, 2017. Pittsburgh. In terms of the takeaways from this game, just a couple of things. Pittsburgh really dominated the play, 43 rushes for 193 yards. Their line and their backs were in control. We won the turnover battle 3-1, but lost the game. That's a tough pill to swallow because that usually works out.
Yeah. But
just some great standouts just on the defensive side of the ball for the Jets. Jonathan Vilma, who was the defensive rookie of the year, was all over the place, 13 tackles. Eric Barden, 11 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss. So lots of good stuff. But it didn't work out.
Yeah, from the Times the next day, we came close, said quarterback Chad Pennington. but close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Yeah.
And from Curtis, one more. From
Sure.
Curtis Martin, he said he was the angriest he had ever been after any loss. And his quote was, "There's blood out there on the field. That's ours," said Martin.
Oh, God. He left it out there.
Yeah.
All right. So that was part 3 for the Jets. Look back. And we are on to the lightning round. And I thought for this week we would start a little bit with most underrated New York pro athletes from kind of our youth, so through our college years. This week we'll start with baseball and football. So why don't you start with baseball player most underrated from your youth?
I'm going curveball and not picking a Met. I'm going to take Willie Randolph from the New York Yankees. 6-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champ, 66 career WAR, never won an MVP, never made a Hall of Fame ballot push. So I think, kind of overlooked with Reggie Jackson, Craig Nettles, and a bunch of other of those Yankees. But Willie always seemed like a class guy. And then, of course, he went crosstown to end up managing our New York Mets in 2005. And by 2006, took him to the best record in baseball, 1 win away from the World Series. Still the second best winning percentage of any manager in Mets history.
Willie's one of my favorites. He was my favorite Yankee, and that's saying something for, a diehard Met fan growing up. But absolute nothing but respect. I loved all things Willie Randolph, so that's a great call.
Yeah.
My guy is John Stearns. He played from 75 to 84. Then there's a big injury, which I'll touch on for the last couple of years. He was a 4-time All-Star, which I hadn't remembered, but completely deservedly so. Great athlete behind the plate. He was a football player in college at the University of Colorado. He stole bases. He was a feisty team leader. I loved rewatching the standing O that he received at Shea Stadium in 1984 because he had been out for nearly 2 years with a significant elbow tear. So that was cool, but just loved the player John Stearns.
It's football time for me.
Yeah.
And I am proudly going with New York Giants defensive end Leonard Marshall. 79.5 sacks in a Giants uniform, 3rd all-time in franchise history, behind 2 guys named Strahan and Taylor. Not in Hall of Fame conversations. A little weird given those stats and given his accomplishments on the field. 2 Super Bowl rings, the NFC Championship in 1990. He delivered the hit that ended Joe Montana's dynasty in real time. Some called it dirty. It was a rough hit, but it was all in the game. Just a fantastic defender for a number of years for the Big Blue. He was the guy in the trenches making sure quarterbacks never got comfortable. Big Leonard Marshall fan.
Yep. Great player.
Who you got?
My guy is one of my favorites. My guy is Darrell Ray. He was a second rounder, free safety. Only 5 years as a Jet, 1980 through 1984. Wonderful video tribute that I saw from the Jet series called From the Vault, if anybody wants to check that out. 21 picks in just 5 seasons, 3 for touchdowns, and get this, for an incredible 581 yards. When he got the ball in his hands, he did something with it. 8 total touchdowns with the fumble returns. So this is a player that the Jets could really use right now in terms of our inability to pick off the ball, with kind of being 0 being the key number last year. Darrell Ray, I touched from Norman, Oklahoma. He returned home after his football career, but listen to this. In September 2008, he and his family opened up Ray's Barbecue. It's won several awards, and this is from the website. You're going to like this. Our motto is a rib so tender, you don't need teeth. Come on. So It would be wonderful to find myself there and to enjoy and to say hello, but such a great player, Darrell Ray. All right, you ready for a little PS?
Yeah, P.S. We're taking it off the field. This week was my topic to pick, and I asked that we each think about 1 to 2 things we're irrationally. Reminds me of my 7th grade math teacher, Mr. McSood. It's a rational number. Irrational, rational, no one knew. Okay, that's for the high schoolers out there that went to school with us. That aside, we are looking for the irrational competitive topics. I'll let you go first with your first item.
Yeah, so a slight cheat on my first one.
Cheats are fine for PS.
Oh, good. So I actually changed the first one to irrational patience rather than irrationally competitive. So for me, it's puzzles. I can sit for hours at a puzzle.
We're just going to call that competitive because you've got to be patient to be competitive with tough puzzles.
Okay.
I'm going to bring it around.
Thank you for that. I wanted to be fair, but sure, you could say that. And certainly during COVID, I had so much time to sit at the puzzle board, and that was great. My only request on the puzzles to family and friends is if you could just put in one piece. That is, again, it's not really a competitive thing, but I do like it when someone else just contributes just something, just a little bit. So just a huge fan of puzzles, as you know.
That's a good one. My first one is watching Jeopardy in a group. So it doesn't matter whose living room it is, but I like to be the first one to shoot out the answers. And I'm definitely keeping a mental score check as we go of everybody. Like I can kind of keep that on one side of my head. I like to think I'm quite solid.
Yeah.
But in any case, I definitely like to see what I can do when that show comes on.
Very nice.
With a group of people.
Very nice.
Yeah. As long as there's no opera for Final Jeopardy, we'll be fine.
I get that. This one's probably not going to be too big a surprise. So my second one in terms of irrationally competitive is Connect 4. I definitely take my time between moves, especially against a strong opponent. So I will say that. And one of the things that's fun for me, and I think other people probably experience this too with the game, is that when the game's over, but the other person doesn't. And of course, as you know, I did have this, wonderful experience years ago where I met the inventor of the game, and that was a big surprise and fun, and then ended up beating a bunch of other people that were at this event, and so it's just part of my story. Connect 4. I love the game to this day.
Yes, I thought you might throw that out there. My second one's a little I took some liberties, but I like it anyway. I will not use a subway map when it comes to a location in Manhattan.
Okay.
So if there's a dinner scheduled wherever, in the Village, Lower East Side, Fidei, whatever, just anywhere in Manhattan, there's just no possible way I'm looking at a subway map to get there. I just, lived there my whole life, and if I'm wrong, which only very occasionally happens, so be it. I'm just old school. I'm just not bringing out the Google Maps. I know I could punch it in.
Yeah.
I'm aware, everyone, but I'm not gonna.
No, I think that's totally fair. Absolutely. All right. So with that, that's it for today. Thank you for listening. Until the next time, I'm Peter Olczyk.
And I'm Scott Greenhut. Make sure to subscribe to S&P's Why Not Us on your favorite podcast player. And also check us out at our website, whynotuspod.com, to find show notes and more. We'd love for you to leave some feedback on who your favorite or underrated athlete was in New York in the 70s and 80s. And until next time, Peter and I are going to put this episode in the books.